In the effect of gamma rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds by Paul Zindel. And this is Alana Jones in PS 43 by Michael Schulman.
I throw crap at you. I'm sitting here reading a book and you come around. You know, first I just think you're on the make with that line. Did you ever go to PS? Whatever it was. But then I see you're just another nut in the park. Well, I'm up to my esophagus with nuts in the park. On Monday, it was a big guy with a Texas accent who asks me if I want to see his large snake. I think it's just some guy who on his first day in town was to give a city girl like me a big thrill by pulling his pants down in front of her. But I'm not so lucky. This creep isn't into euphemisms. This nut opens his suitcase, pulls out a boa constrictor, and drops it in my lap. Crazies, creeps, they all come to the park and they all come to my bench. On last Friday, it was some bald-headed freak who wanted to show off his new dentures to me. This nut kept taking his teeth out of his mouth and snapping them in my face. In his mouth, in my face. Crazies, creeps, they all come to the park and they all come to my bench. Now, I walked away from that Texas boa constrictor and I walked away from those snapping teeth. I walked away from all of them, and mister, I have had it. Now, maybe your craziness, objectively speaking, is not as as bad as some of the others. But unfortunately for you today, mister, you are the straw and I am the camel. Now, you creeps have your problems and I have mine. And mine right now is to stay very, very, very calm. So if you don't, right now, immediately, this very instant, leave, I'm going to scream.
This is Molly Ledford in Neil Simon's Brighton Beach Memoirs. God, he was so handsome. Always dressed so dapper. Shoes were always shine. I always thought he should have been a movie star, like Gary Cooper, only very short. Mostly I remember his pockets. When I was about 6 or 7, he always used to bring me home a little surprise from the store, like a Hershey or a top. He'd tell me to go get it from his coat pocket, so I'd run to the closet, and I'd stick my hand in, and it felt as big as a tent. I just wanted to crawl in there and go to sleep. And there were all these terrific things in there, like juicy fruit gum, spearmint lifesavers, movie ticket stubs, bits of cellophane, crumpled pieces of tobacco, nickels, dimes, rubber bands, paper clips, and those gray suede gloves he wore in the wintertime. And then I found his coat in Mom's closet. I stuck my hand in the pocket, and everything was gone. It had been emptied, dry cleaned, and it felt cold. And that's when I knew he had really died. God, I wish we had our own place to live in. I hate being a boarder. Listen, we should make a pact. The first one to raise enough money promises not to spend it all on ourselves, but to save it for a house for me and you and Mom to live in. That means every penny we get from now on, we save towards the house. We can't buy anything. No magazines, no lipstick, no bubble gum, no nail polish, nothing.